Hey guys, Mike here. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. Thank you for clicking on this video. I want to talk very briefly today about yesterday's trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4. Man, this looks awesome. I am so excited for it. And yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about my thoughts on this franchise and what I thought about the trailer more generally. Okay, so I played the original Kingdom Hearts on PlayStation 2 when I was literally like 10 years old when it first came out. I think it was 2002. And since then, I've just been addicted to this series. And I know that this series is kind of known for having one of the most convoluted plots in video game or even just fiction history. And I completely agree with that. I think that Kingdom Hearts is so ridiculous in terms of its story.
Kyrie's inside me?
And it's obviously really fun and the story is great, but I also think it's so ridiculous. And I'm kind of glad that Kingdom Hearts 4 is the start of a new chapter or saga for this franchise. I've played every single game in this series. It's genuinely one of my favorite video game franchises of all time. I'm up to date with the story. I understand the story, which is saying a lot for this series. So last night, Australian time, at this Kingdom Hearts 20th anniversary event, this huge moment where they revealed the trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4 happened, and it was so awesome to see. And it definitely picks up where Kingdom Hearts 3 left off, which is kind of interesting because the gap between Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3 was about 10 years, with 5 or 6 side games scattered in between all of that as well. So to have 3 go kind of straight to 4 story-wise is really refreshing for this series, that we don't have to do another 10 side games across 8 different video game platforms to just get the full story of this series. And from the second this trailer starts, you can see the jump into like a completely next gen kind of vibe. It actually looks phenomenal. Sora looks so great, and there was a few posts on Twitter that I saw where they were comparing the original Kingdom Hearts to this, and it looks absolutely phenomenally different, which makes sense because the original one was on PS2 in 2002. But you know what I mean? Like, it's amazing to see how far this series has come. Sora is now in Quadratum, which is like an original world that is pretty much based on the real world Tokyo. And that, there's like this weird thing going on with, in KH3, we're introduced to Virum Rex with the character Yozora, which is a game you play in the Toy Story world. Man, this series is so convoluted. And in the DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3, you do a super boss fight with Yozora. One of the hardest boss fights I've ever done. Kingdom Hearts has some great post-game super boss fights. For example, in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix Plus, you battle the Lingering Will of Terror, which it was really hard, and I've beaten that as well. I will show the trophy on my from my PlayStation account to prove that I've done them, because they are very proud achievements of mine. Yozora was such a fun battle and such an interesting battle as well, and that takes place in Quadratum, which is, I guess, sort of like some kind of afterlife kind of thing for Sora. I'm not 100% sure how it all works for him. And then you see a dark side spawn in Quadratum, and Sora goes to fight it. There's a bunch of really real looking people in there with mobile phones, which is crazy. When we started the first game on Destiny Islands back in 2002, it's just, wow, this game has come so far, and it is so exciting. One thing I noticed about it that was interesting is, like, until the end of the trailer, very Disney not heavy, like no Disney at all until the very end. Part of me wondered if maybe they're trying to distance themselves from Disney, but I doubt that's going to happen because, you know, that's such a core part about what this franchise is and what it means to a lot of people. And then, of course, at the end of the trailer, you see Donald and Goofy walking somewhere looking for someone, only to turn around and kind of see a bunch of fire and a blue flame become a red flame. I assumed that was Hades, and I feel like that's confirmed by a lot of other people online that that is Hades from Hercules, and that Donald and Goofy may be walking in the Hercules or the Olympus underworld to find Hades to ask him about the afterlife, because Sora kind of died at the end of the third game, but he's not really dead because this is Kingdom Hearts and no one really understands what happens and when you die in Kingdom Hearts, and it seems like you can't stay dead, which is exactly what's happening here. So Donald and Goofy clearly do return. Interestingly, like, it's funny that they're on their own little side quest without Sora. I wonder how that'll come in gameplay-wise. And you do get, like, hints of gameplay from this. You see Sora using a bit of, like, flow, which has been explored in Dream Drop Distance, and of course 3 had kind of another version of that, and it's still here. And there's like a grapple kind of move. It does look like a Keyblade transformation, which was big in 3, happened at the end there as well, which I'm not huge on. A lot of people were not very positive about the gameplay of 3, which I agree with. The Keyblade transformations were just really bad, as well as all of the ride attractions, which were obvious kind of marketing ploys for Disney. I was really skeptical about 3 because well, not skeptical, but retrospectively, I dislike the gameplay of 3 because it was so, there was so much ad kind of stuff. Like, here are the rides at Disney World as an attack, and now you have to watch Frozen sing Let It Go in its entirety, which you just know, like, never would have happened in the first games, but now that it's such a big franchise, Disney does want to squeeze it for everything it's worth and get their biggest franchises out there, which does kind of worry me a little bit, because it does mean that, you know, we're never going to see some of those old Disney worlds, I don't think. I think it's always going to be new ones that are relevant to try and make as much money and raise as much brand awareness as possible, which is completely sensical from Disney's point of view. But I just think there were so many creative worlds in the original few games, like, that we might not ever see similar worlds. Like, an example is, I would love an Emperor's New Groove world. It's one of my favorite Disney movies, but there's no financial incentive really, as far as I can see, for Disney to make an Emperor's New Groove world, or a Treasure Planet world, or an Atlantis world, because those movies are old and irrelevant. And why wouldn't you do a, you know, like in 3, Tangled, Frozen, maybe in this one they do a few more of the more modern Pixar movies, say, Luca or Coco or Inside Out. Maybe they do Encanto or Turning Red or any other movie that is modern and in the current zeitgeist. So that's something I'm kind of annoyed about, being a 90s kid. We might not see many of those old movies being represented. That being said, I mean, Hercules is in it, but that has been in pretty much every main game. So anyway, there's also a lot of talk that because of these stunning HD visuals, and they do look amazing, that maybe we're going to get a bunch more live action adaptations. For example, Star Wars and Marvel, which are both under the Disney banner, as we all know. And I'm going to say I would absolutely love to see a Star Wars world. Marvel, I'm not 100% sure of, but Star Wars, I could so get around. I actually thought that in Kingdom Hearts 3, there might be a secret boss akin to, like, Sephiroth in the original 2 games. There might be a Darth Vader super boss secret somewhere that you could find. Like, I just thought maybe that could happen. But yeah, I would love to see Star Wars represented. I think original trilogy would be the best thing to do, but knowing where Star Wars is at, they'd probably do the sequel trilogy, which I don't think would be that good. We did get Pirates of the Caribbean in 3 again, which looked really good and was pretty fun, except for all that boat combat. I didn't really like that. But yeah, any other live action stuff? Marvel, I'm not 100% sure of, but Star Wars, definitely. I would absolutely love to see Star Wars in Kingdom Hearts. And I think mainly with this is just thinking about all the possibilities that this game could be. It does look like the true next-gen step for Kingdom Hearts, which I think is really amazing. And, you know, no matter what, I'm going to play this game. And who knows when it's going to come out. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I don't want another Kingdom Hearts 3 situation where there's actually, like, memes being made about this game never coming out, and then when it finally comes out, it's disappointing. Like, I would love to see this in the next 2 to 3 years. It'll obviously be on PS5 and Xbox Series I mean, I assume it'll get a PS4 and Xbox One release, but it does look pretty big, so who knows? Maybe it'll be a true next-gen game. Like, I doubt it will be on Switch, but I'm sure we'll get some kind of Kingdom Hearts side game on Switch in the next few years as well. I don't see why they wouldn't kind of dip into that territory, because the Switch is such a good selling console, and there's been Kingdom Hearts side games on Nintendo consoles before. But yeah, those are my thoughts on it. Really excited, really impressed by what I saw, but skeptical and cautious still based on Kingdom Hearts 3. So what are your thoughts? Let me know. Subscribe to my channel. I do just my thoughts on pop culture stuff that I'm into, and if you're into it too, great. If you're not, I don't know. I also do a podcast on this channel once a week as well, which you can hang out with me for an hour a week over on my channel. Please subscribe and thumbs the video up and comment below. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.